Man, it's certainly been a wild 24 hours in the world of WWE. It's been a wild 24 hours in and around the internet wrestling community. And I'm so happy that I was not in the minority following Monday Night Raw last night. In fact, surprisingly, I was in the majority of the people who hated Monday Night Raw. I wanted to sit down during Smackdown Live with a fresh head. And that's exactly what I did. I made a cup of coffee, I sat down, and then Shane McMahon tells us again that we're going to get Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, Aleister Black, and Ricochet on SmackDown Live. I wasn't sure how I felt about this. Obviously, after last night, I am now terrified of WWE main roster having anything to do with these four individuals. And throughout the show, I'm going back and forth with a few people that I talk to regularly about what we're watching on Monday and Tuesday night. And all during the show, I'm taking notes, and thoughts are coming to me, and I'm jotting them down in my iPad. And I'm going to express everything to you guys tonight, how I felt in the last 24 hours in this whirlwind that was WWE. I know I've said this before 1,000 times on this channel, on Off the Script. You only get one good first impression. It is very rare that you get that same opportunity again in your lifetime to correct what went wrong in your first impression. Whether it's a job interview, you only get one. You're not going to walk into a job interview wearing pajama bottoms, slippers, and smelling of cigarettes. Or reeking of alcohol. With messy hair. And you not being clean shaven. You're not going to do that. You're not going to go on a first date with somebody that you've been wanting to sit down with and get to know, with bad BO. You're not going to go to this date, unclean and not showered. Good hygiene is a must, right? You're not going to go into this date and if you're lucky enough, get a first kiss, and your mouth smells like it hasn't been brushed for like 6 days. You don't want to go through those situations. You only get one first impression. You got to make the most of it. So this is what I started off with. You only get one first impression. Raw last night, they didn't have one first impression. They had four. Raw ruined 4 first impressions. And it wasn't anything to do with Aleister Black, Ricochet, Tommaso Ciampa, and Johnny Gargano. They are not to blame here. They absolutely are not to blame. 4 first impressions that WWE took for granted. 4 first impressions that they took and used for their own selfish greed. Raw is an absolute disaster in every sense of the word. I know it, you know it, everybody knows it. And if you don't express that, you're fooling yourself. Instead of being fucking some high and mighty piece of shit in the community, be true to yourself and your audience. Thank God I did not come across anybody yet that praised what WWE did. The only people that were praising anything on the show were the people who think their voices matter. And they don't. Blaming everything on the talent, blaming everything on the fans who want this talent to succeed. Those people are absolutely irrelevant. Raw is a fucking disaster in every sense of the word. There's no other way for me to put it. I say it every single week. You know what the issues are. NXT call-ups were just made at the turn of 2019. Remember EC3? I don't. Remember Nikki Cross? I don't. Neither does WWE. Heavy machinery's out there imitating the Bushwhackers. Lacey Evans has not had one main roster match. Aleister Black, Ricochet, Ciampa, and Gargano have had back-to-back nights. Lars Sullivan? Where is he? I don't know. Maybe a fucking mountain lion swallowed him up. He hasn't even made his main roster debut yet. How do you think those guys feel? How do you think those guys feel knowing that they were the next class to be called up? WWE brought them up, seemingly deleted them, and now brought up everybody that is important in NXT to the main roster. For whatever reason. They proceeded to call up 4 more in those men that I named. But those 4 that they called up have been the heart and soul of what makes NXT the best wrestling show anywhere on the planet. They are what makes NXT so special. They called up Ricochet, Aleister Black, Tommaso Ciampa, and Johnny Gargano, with both of them being the NXT champion and the North American champion, respectively. They brought all these men up without any video packages, without any hype, with nothing. With nothing. They threw them out there in front of a live main roster audience in Lafayette, Louisiana, and it's as if WWE just hit the jackpot in Atlantic City. They won the big jackpot. They sat down at the poker table and they went all in and they won $1 million. WWE took all this money and blew it on strippers and booze and have nothing left to their name. That's exactly what they did with Aleister Black, Ricochet, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa. Everything that they won at that poker table, gone. Gone. And they have absolutely no regret about it. WWE had absolutely no regret about anything that they did on Monday Night Raw. They debuted them on the main roster without a notification of what was going on. There was no weeks of build. There was no hype. There was no rumors circulating in and around the community on the dirt sheets. WWE put out a notification via your mobile device that NXT superstars were backstage at Monday Night Raw 2 hours before Raw went on the USA Network. What they proceeded to do was take everything that NXT has worked at building and they put it on Raw, thinking it would just seemingly fit into the fucking disaster that Monday Night Raw is, thinking it would work. And it ended up backfiring, and it blew up in their face. And you know what? I'm glad that it did. 24 hours following that Raw, I sit here telling you, I'm glad we got what we got on Monday Night Raw, and WWE is standing there wondering what the fuck happened. They thought they had all the answers. This goes to show you that WWE has zero answers. It blew up in their face 24 hours after letting it all digest. I sit here, and not because I don't value my boys, who I've put so much time and investment in, 4 talented men that they debuted, that have the world by the balls. This company is theirs for the taking. I'm glad it happened because it exposed WWE for how miserable they are at doing their job correctly. Everything they did reeked of downright desperation because of their ineptness to book the show that we all deserve as wrestling fans. And I'm not coming off as entitled. I'm not coming off as, oh, I need to get what I want. These shows are absolutely fucking dreadful. This is not wrestling. This is not what we want. We've been suffering through 6 years of absolute garbage. At one point, do you say enough is enough? The mediocrity that you accept on what we're getting is absolutely nauseating. We deserve better. Everything they tried to do was trying to take the easy way out. WWE takes the easy way out in everything. After years and years and years of pushing the wrong people, after years and years and years of putting people in positions that they don't belong in, giving roles to people that they don't need or that are just completely downright wrong, not listening to the fans, being lazy with their writing. And it showed. It showed on Raw this week that the mentality of Vince McMahon is no longer capable of running any aspect of this company. Not only did it expose Vince McMahon for not knowing what NXT is, it exposed him for completely being incapable of writing a wrestling show. And you know what the best part is? Not only did it show that, it showed everybody that Vince McMahon is no longer needed in the WWE. And I mean that from the very bottom of my fucking soul. And anybody that tells you otherwise is a complete fucking dick rider. They are absolutely clueless to what they are watching. Vince McMahon is not capable of writing a television show anymore. As far as business goes, that's where he's needed most. Making the money for the company, that's where he's needed most. As far as what we're seeing for 3 hours on Monday and 2 hours on Tuesday and a random Sunday, he's no longer needed. I don't give a fuck if you agree with me on that or not. Vince McMahon is no longer needed in the WWE as far as a man who's running both Raw and SmackDown Live, especially in 2019. Instead of booking what Triple H has built beautifully with respect, excitement, Vince McMahon proceeded to tell his writing team before Raw, hours before Raw. I don't know when in the day this was relayed to them, but obviously they had to get through the Elimination Chamber first. So let that sink in. Knowing that you have a major pay-per-view on the road to WrestleMania with a Monday Night Raw to follow, you'd think you'd have plans in place for Raw the following night. Vince McMahon went somewhere, I don't know where he sat everybody down, and proceeded to tell them to put something out on social media that NXT's in the building and go outside the box as far as writing a show on the road to WrestleMania. How would you feel if your company has done just this type of behavior? Going into a show that should have plans in place, not having anything at all. They barely had a show written on Monday afternoon. The answer is right there. The answer to your $1 million question is right there. What's the problem with the WWE? That's the problem with the WWE. They book on the fly without sitting down and thinking about the what-ifs in every situation. That is the most important aspect of what you put on television. Everything has a what-if attached to it. WWE goes in blind. It's like they're fucking recreating Bird Box on Netflix. They go in blind. They walk around with fucking blindfolds on. Instead of taking what Triple H built beautifully with respect and excitement, he proceeded to tell his writing team to think outside the box and deliver on a show in front of a crowd that did not even anticipate what they were about to see. The backlash after Raw was something that I'd never seen before on a Monday night. I legit thought I was going to be the minority, like I said, in this instance, and to my surprise, I was actually in the majority. Ricochet, Ciampa, Gargano, Black were all placed on Monday Night Raw and were treated as afterthoughts. Afterthoughts. This mentality of bringing people up from NXT and having them start from the bottom and work their way up to the top is as antiquated as their rematch clause. It's gotta go. I'm sick of it. That's the Vince McMahon mentality. That's the mentality that all these fucking cretins on social media are conditioned with. Where do you think they got it? They got it from Vince. Vince does, and you stand there like the puppet that you are. It's gotta go. You're not gonna bring up a Ciampa or a Gargano and have him start at the bottom of the fucking barrel. Those men have carried that brand and have given you excellence every single time. You treat them as main event. Same goes for Ricochet, same goes for Black, same thing goes for all of Undisputed Era when they get called up. Enough is enough. Thought I was mad last night. Had to let everything fucking sit and fester for 24 hours. The commentary's no better. Preaching, oh, this is an upset if Gargano and Ciampa rather beat the Bar. Really? What's so upsetting about DIY beating the Bar? Because you're conditioned to think that, oh, they're main roster, they're the big league. That goes to show you that they're inconspicuous in throwing shade at NXT, kind of saying that they're minor league, but they're really not. And that Ciampa and Gargano are too small, or they're not main roster. Correct me if I'm wrong, how many Johnny Gargano matches ended up in the top 10 for WWE in 2018? All of them. Gargano was in 6 of the top 10 matches in 2018. Don't give me that bullshit that he's not major league. Fuck out of here. They were placed on Raw, and they were treated as afterthoughts. Rookies. Talent that Vince McMahon said, without even having to say it himself, was not as important to him as they are to people like you and I. Instead of treating them like the future that they are, he made them all feel ordinary. Ordinary. The people of Lafayette, Louisiana, made them feel ordinary. And it's not all of their fault. I understand that. But why are you going to a wrestling show to pay money to sit there? I don't know how many tickets were given away for free, but you're going to a wrestling show to sit like this during an Aleister Black match. Or you're going to sit there like this during a Ricochet match. Really? Might as well just stay home at that point. People defended this show. People on social media defended this steaming pile of garbage. This laziness was actually defended by people, by cretins on social media. Same typical remarks. Nobody cares about these vanilla midgets. JD is an NXT dick rider. Oh, look at JD's vanilla midgets, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. JD is salty that his boys are nowhere close to being a money draw. Lafayette came to see the Undertakers and the Cenas and the Lesnars and the Reigns of the WWE. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, all of my NXT boys got the same reaction as Triple H. There was barely a fucking peep for the announcement of D-Generation X going into the Hall of Fame. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sasha Banks and Bayley came out to library silence while showing off the women's championships, the women's tag team championships. So, clearly, it's just not my boys. It's everybody that is regularly featured on the main roster. My guys aren't a money draw, these cretins on social media claim. We don't want to see these gymnasts that we've never seen or heard of before. Now, again, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Cena, wasn't Lesnar, wasn't Reigns, wasn't The Rock, Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins, Matt and Jeff Hardy. What about the Elite? Wasn't Cody, Matt and Nick Jackson? Wasn't Kenny Omega in the same position that Aleister Black, Ricochet, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa? Weren't they all in the same position that my boys are in? So who are you to say that they're bums? And who are you to say that they're gymnasts? And who are you to say that WWE television is going to be worse with these guys on TV compared to what we got now? Who the fuck are you? Now, look at everybody that you see that's made it big, and Kenny Omega's the best wrestler on the fucking planet. Cody is running his own fucking promotion. Without where they got started, you wouldn't get what you're getting now with them. So I don't get all the fucking ignorance when my boys are on television. Why are you so passive on giving everybody an opportunity? I don't understand it. Who's to say Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa can't end up being Hall of Famers one day? Then you'll fucking eat your words. Look at all the above now. The disdain from casual wrestling fans is truly the cancer of the community. Every single one of these trolls and these people that block me without saying anything to me. All these people that got a problem with what I do and with what I say on here. You are the absolute cancer of the wrestling community. It's not me. It's not my fan base. I can't help that I'm stating facts here and I'm making you salty. Whose fucking problem is that? You can't handle the truth? Go fuck yourself. It's not my fucking problem. I'm not losing sleep at night. I know that I come on here every single day, do what I have to do, say what I have to say. It's respected by the majority, and if you have an issue with it, then maybe you should look yourself in the mirror. You're all the cancer of the community. What happens? What happens when your Reigns may never come back. We don't fucking know. What happens when your Cenas and your Undertakers and your Lesnars, right? What happens when all of them are no longer capable of coming to a WWE event and actually wrestling? What happens then when they're no longer there? Ever. They will never be what they used to be. Why are you all so ignorant to what the future is? Who would you like the future of this company to be if not for those four men that debuted on Monday Night Raw? You understand that there will never be another Undertaker or another John Cena or another Hulk Hogan or another Ultimate Warrior. There will never be anybody that captivated us back when we were growing up in the current state of professional wrestling. I hope that you know that. I hope that you know that. So who exactly do you want to see run the company, if not for these gymnasts or these vanilla midgets? Either you adapt or you don't watch. Simple as that. This is something WWE doesn't seem to understand either. They have not adapted to the change that is happening daily in the business that they are the supposed leaders of. They have all of the best talent any company would absolutely kill to have, and they take everything for granted, deaf and blind to everything around them, to appease one man and his vision that does not fit the model of what is currently needed for the WWE. I am tired of people throwing their financials in my face. I don't give a fuck how much money they make. Their shows are garbage. They're going to make the same amount of money if you put on better shows than they are now. So what's stopping them from putting on better shows? Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa have more 5-star matches in 2018 than anyone on the main roster. And they were given less time in the ring with the Revival. Braun Strowman and Baron Corbin got more time than DIY and the Revival. WWE's touting tag team change, right? Why was that the number one match of 2016, and here we are in 2019 with everybody better than they were then in the middle of the show, not main eventing on a Monday Night Raw? Why? Why? For one night, you couldn't give me Ronda Rousey and Ruby Riott in the middle of the show? For one night, you couldn't give me DIY and the Revival in the main event for 25 fucking minutes? I don't understand that. The main event of Raw was a sequel to a 90-second match at the Elimination Chamber. Then you want to blame Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano for not getting over. Doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. Ricochet was thrown in the middle of a Bobby Lashley, Lio Rush back and forth with Balor. Ricochet came out to save Balor, rushing to the ring with WWE thinking that he was the fucking Rock saving the day. Expecting some big reaction from someone that Lafayette, Louisiana didn't even know existed. After WWE wiped away Lashley's attack on Rush just the night before. Disowned Lio Rush, and then nothing about that attack even mattered on Monday night. Aleister Black had to sell for Elias, who has been nothing more than a novelty comedy act with subpar wrestling ability. He had to be on the defensive against Elias before hitting a Black Mass in a 3-minute match. I don't know how the fuck you expect Aleister Black to get over in front of a live audience by putting him in the ring with Elias and having him come from behind against somebody who is not known for his wrestling ability. Sinking ratings, desperation, fear of AEW, All Elite Wrestling. They are looking for answers in all the wrong places. The answer to the questions that are sitting on your brain are right in front of you. WWE is sitting around asking themselves, what's going on? Why? What do we need to do? The answer is right in front of you. Why is WWE producing the worst quality of content ever on the main roster in 2018 and 2019? It's because of their writing. WrestleMania is 48 days away. I don't know what is scarier, the fact that Vince McMahon is so out of touch with the people watching his show in 2019, or the fact that WrestleMania is being pieced together week by week, when WrestleMania should have been already written in fucking pencil coming out of Survivor Series. It's because of their writing. You can't take what's been brilliant in NXT with an NXT staff, place it on the main roster, and expect the same level of brilliance. The answer is in the writing. There is a right place and a right time to do everything. You want to propose to your girl? It's the right place and the right time. You're not going to take her to fucking Chuck E. Cheese, playing arcade games, and get on your knee and propose to the bitch. You're not going to do it in aisle 7 of Bed Bath & Beyond shopping for fucking sheets. There's a time and a place to do everything. WWE thought last night was the right time and the right place. It failed. It failed. And you know what they did? They knew it failed, and they tried to bounce back and do it all over again tonight on SmackDown Live. And you know what? The vibe of SmackDown Live was actually much more pleasant than it was on Monday Night Raw. That's not really anything surprising. Why did SmackDown Live do it right, and Monday Night Raw failed at everything that they tried to do on Monday night? Why? Why? I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. That's what I have to say on that. If you don't agree with what I stated here, I don't really give a shit. I don't. Where's the SmackDown review? I don't give a shit. This is too important to everybody. This is the future of this company. If you are not going to handle this with care, then you don't belong in the position that you're in. I'm sorry. This is not some regular Joe Schmo that you picked up off the fucking streets. This is not somebody that you should be ushering out there with little to no excitement about. This is the future of your fucking company. These guys have been busting their ass to get to this point, showing you that they deserve everything that's coming to them, and you treat them like you treat fucking Kurt Hawkins. That not only disrespects those four men, that disrespects fans like me. Because we know that these guys could be world champion on any fucking brand, on any given night, for any fucking promotion. If you don't think so, you are a complete fucking ignorant asshole. Smackdown Live. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I'm in some fucking mood. T-shirts. You guys absolutely blew it out of the water, man. On Monday night, I asked you guys to break 100. You did it, plus 10. We are at 110 Elite shirts sold. We have 110 JD Elite VIPs. If you guys want to get to 150, which I would love if you do, let's continue that fucking momentum, man. Like Kofi's momentum, let's continue the JD Elite momentum. Bonfire.com link is down in the description of this very video towards the very top, man. Go and get yours today. They are available for the rest of the month on Bonfire.com. At this point, Bonfire is going to be telling me, let's make it a fucking permanent thing, man. Thanks to you guys. Go and get your shirt today on Bonfire.com. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206 on Twitter and on Instagram. We are almost at 6,100 on Instagram, guys. Thank you so very much for following me on there. If you got an Instagram account, make sure you type that in the search and follow me on Instagram. Same thing on Twitter, live tweeting during Raw and SmackDown Live during NXT. We got Johnny Gargano and the Velveteen Dream on NXT tomorrow night. Apparently there's a big announcement for NXT as well. I don't know what it could be. Sean Ross Sapp actually made a video about it and posted on Fightful.com about it. NXT has this big announcement that's going to be made on Wednesday night. I don't know what it could be, but I think it's going to pertain to NXT being a part of the shakeup or the draft that is coming after WrestleMania. That is just my logical guess on that. So please make sure you guys follow me on social media, patreon.com/JD from NY206, and hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. If you guys want to go see Monday Night Raw, the Elimination Chamber, and any other content that you might have missed so far this week, it's in the eye that you see in the top right corner of the screen, that little drop-down box. Resident Evil live stream today, Alligator boss fight, Elimination Chamber, and we got the Monday Night Raw review as well, where I go off on WWE, just ruining everybody's debut from NXT on Monday Night Raw, man. Thank you guys so very much for all of that. SmackDown Live. SmackDown Live started off with a bang. SmackDown Live started off with Shane McMahon and The Miz. Shane McMahon did immediately mention that NXT was going to be back for a second night. Everybody from Ciampa, Gargano, Ricochet, and Black were going to be there, and they were going to be wrestling on SmackDown Live. Samoa Joe, Randy Orton, and Daniel Bryan were going to be teaming up against AJ Styles, Kofi Kingston, and Jeff Hardy in a big six-man tag where we would find out who would face Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship at Fastlane in March. We will talk about that in a second. But after all these announcements that Shane McMahon made, The Miz comes out and apologizes to Shane McMahon about losing the SmackDown Tag Team titles to the Usos on Sunday at the Elimination Chamber. He took full blame for it. Miz goes on about how Shane took a risk by teaming with him to begin with. He says that he has a confession to make and says that he used Shane McMahon. Miz knew Shane could relate to how he felt about his dad. And Miz talks about how Shane stepped in at Crown Jewel to win the World Cup tournament when Miz went down with an injury. He goes on about how Shane teamed with him to win the SmackDown Tag Team titles, and they did it together. Miz goes on and recalls how Shane surprised him with his dad for their post-match celebration, and he goes on to say that his dad told him he loved him and how important that meant to him. and how proud he was of his son. This was the first time in Miz's life that he's heard his dad say that to him. Miz says that this was one of the best moments of his career and one of the greatest moments of his life, and it's all thanks to Shane. So we're still getting this Miz babyface run, at least for the time being. Miz says he let Shane down 2 days ago in their first title defense, and he's sorry. He can't change the past, but he can control the future. Miz says there is someone who can make this rematch, and it's Shane McMahon. Now, Miz tells Shane to listen to the crowd because they want it. Miz wants it. Miz knows Shane wants it. We want a rematch. Now, at least they did bring up the fact that the rematch clause is still gone, that it's no longer a thing in WWE. So I like that they're at least mentioning it. And WWE has kind of, in every which way, worked around this rematch clause not being a thing anymore, whether it's coaxing someone into a rematch or pretending that it's an open challenge, but it's a rematch anyway. It's as if the rematch clause has went away, but it's still existent on WWE television because WWE does everything to work around that. I wish that they would just get rid of it. You lose, you move on, and the champions move on to a new set of opponents. But WWE's writing is so fucking lazy that they don't know any better. So they constantly book matches that we see in 1 week at one pay-per-view going into the next 3 pay-per-views because they don't know how to write. This is them telling you without actually saying it, we don't know any better. The Usos come out and they get fired up. Sounds like everybody wants a rematch. They raise the titles up, and they start yelling at both Shane and The Miz. Usos remind us that there are no automatic rematch clauses. However, the Usos are going to give Shane and The Miz one more chance to prove that they are the best. Then this leads Jimmy and Jay to calling The Miz a joke, a loser, a failure, and a fraud. The Usos say Shane needs to find a new tag team partner. That The Miz is a wannabe A-lister, but nothing more than a C-lister. The Usos say Shane needs to find a new tag team partner, but Shane tells them to watch the disrespect aimed at The Miz. Shane thinks about it, and he makes, being that he is the one running the show, the McMahon regime is running the show, so fuck the rematch clauses, we got another match. Didn't happen tonight, but it's happening in The Miz's hometown of Cleveland, Ohio. That's going to be very interesting to see what happens there. Now, I hope that The Miz and Shane don't beat the Usos in The Miz's hometown, because you know he's going to have a big babyface reaction in Cleveland, The Miz will. I don't know what this means, but hopefully this is the end of the Usos dealing with McMiz TV. We need to get the Usos on the same page as someone like The Revival or someone like a legit tag team going into WrestleMania, which at this point, I don't even know. Because the tag team division on SmackDown Live is pretty non-existent. You got the New Day doing their thing with Kofi. The Bar really aren't doing much of anything. Heavy Machinery is not going to WrestleMania to challenge for the tag team championships. So it's WWE right now just clueless on what to do with the Usos. And you know my idea of merging the divisions. I would make the Revival and the Usos WrestleMania unification match for the tag team championships. Simple. You got something that's needed for the division. You're putting 2 of the best teams in the company at WrestleMania. That's what WrestleMania is about. The showcase of the immortals, right? Showcase to me why you're the best. 2 of the best right now are the Revival and the Usos. There's no doubt about it. So show me. There's no better match for the Usos or the Revival going into WrestleMania. You want tag team wrestling to be thriving coming out of WrestleMania, going into this draft or shake-up coming in April? Show me. That's the way you do it. Aleister Black versus Andrade Cien Almas. I refuse to call him Andrade. Now, I was surprised to see this match. And, with both of these men in the ring, New Orleans, I believe they were in New Orleans tonight. I believe, yes, New Orleans, Louisiana, at the Smoothie King Center, where TakeOver was just last year. I was surprised to see this match on NXT, and I was surprised to actually hear a huge chant of NXT while both of these men squared up in the ring. It was also weird seeing Zelina Vega walk Andrade Cien Almas to the ring, knowing that she's married to Aleister Black, who is sitting very eerily in the corner. So I got a nice little vibe from that as well. It's pretty cool. And I'm glad for both of them that they're both happy. Now, this was great. This was absolutely great. For a TV match, this was fantastic. So, for everybody that put down the vanilla midgets and these gymnasts on Monday Night Raw, this one match to open the show proved how much of just how everybody was wrong. It proved to everybody how much of a fucking idiot you are. It proved to everybody how clueless you really are, how irrelevant you really are. I smile from ear to ear at the end of this match with the reaction that both Almas and Black got with the chance of NXT, with the reaction that Black got on SmackDown where he didn't get it on Monday Night Raw. And no, it's not completely on the difference in crowd. This is what we need to see. He had a caliber opponent in Andrade Cien Almas on SmackDown Live, and you give him Elias on Monday Night Raw. Black got his shit in here to show everybody exactly what he's made of. He got fan support. The fans were rallying behind him, and the fans popped big when he hit Black Mass. What happened on Monday Night Raw? Aleister Black proved everybody to be a fucking ignorant idiot at the end of this match. And that gets a resounding ovation from me. Aleister Black wins in a very, very good match. Black Mass for the win. I don't know what's going on with Rey Mysterio and Andrade. I know Zelina Vega made mention of it last week, but hopefully that is where they go for those two at WrestleMania. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa are backstage watching the match with Black and Andrade Cien Almas. Kayla Braxton approaches both of them and asks for comments on last night's Raw debut. And Ciampa talks about how they made careers off defying expectations and how he wasn't just handed the NXT title. He goes on and Gargano mentions how they did battle in this same arena last year, but here they are together. Gargano says that they are going to prove that they are the future. I have an issue with this. I don't mind seeing Johnny and Ciampa together. It's actually fitting what is currently being told on television. The only thing is, Johnny is very indifferent to Ciampa on NXT television. On main roster television, it seems that nobody watches NXT, which I'm sure is 100% factual. I don't like to see Tommaso Ciampa being babyface with Johnny Gargano, just pretty much putting everything to the side about what is going on NXT television. It's like they are definitely telling you that they are operating in two completely different worlds, and I don't like that. There has to be some sort of consistency, no matter what brand it is, whether it's SmackDown, NXT and Raw. There's got to be some level of consistency here. Tommaso Ciampa is not a babyface. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa are indifferent to one another. Here they are, pretending like all is fucking peaches and cream, and there's no mention of their indifference in NXT or where they came from to get to this point, being that they're both NXT champion and North American champion. So I don't know who's writing this shit, but clearly they are completely off. The Bar interrupts and takes some shots at Gargano and Ciampa. Cesaro says no one knows who they are and no one cares. Maybe if you're Lafayette, Louisiana, yeah, that may be true. Cesaro tells them to go back to NXT or Raw, just stay away from SmackDown Live. They step up to Sheamus. Ciampa does anyway, and asks if they're joking. Ciampa says they're here to take over, not to play games. Gargano then recites an LOL line that got me laughing out loud. He says they're not here to set the bar, they're here to break the bar. The Bar actually ends up laughing. I laughed at Johnny's joke to Sheamus and Cesaro, and they walk off. I thought that was great. Backstage, Jeff Hardy is there with AJ Styles. Jeff wants to forgive and forget, let bygones be bygones, and focus on tonight's match. They agree. New Day comes up with Kofi Kingston and extends an olive branch, but instead of it being an olive branch, it was a pancake branch. Yet this is everybody's choice for WWE Champion. He's wearing cut-off belly shirts, and he's still flinging pancakes around as if none of that matters. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want my WWE champion flinging fucking pancakes around, gyrating on fucking television. Just throwing that out there for all you fucking Kofi Kingston fanboys. And no, it has nothing to do with who he is or the color of his skin. So shut your fucking mouth. The Bar versus DIY. We get this great match. This was actually better than what they did with the Revival on Monday Night Raw. This was a very, very fun match, man. I love this. I just don't like the fact that Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano are operating as both babyfaces, Ciampa especially. You know? Ciampa didn't even do that at the fucking NXT house show in Tom's River that I went to. They were still indifferent to one another. Always watching each other's, blind eye. I don't understand this shit. It's like nothing fucking matters in WWE. There was a spot here where Ciampa came off the top. Now, I don't know what happened here. And he came off the top. I don't know if he tried to do a sunset flip of some sort on Sheamus. But Ciampa had this situation where Sheamus landed right on his injured knee, the one with the knee brace on it. And Sheamus and all his body weight came down on Ciampa's leg, and it looked like Ciampa's leg was like contorted or it bent in a weird fucking way, and I absolutely gasped at this sequence. I don't know what happened there, but I'm praying to God that Ciampa is not hurt and he's not walking around with a torn ligament of some sort after this match was over. So we get Cesaro getting sent into the LED board at ringside. Gargano brings it back in the ring with a big slingshot DDT on Cesaro. Love that move. Gargano rolls back, and by the way, Gargano did get Johnny Wrestling chants. There were chants of NXT. People appreciated Ciampa being there and raising Goldie in the air. Just a completely different environment here on SmackDown Live. 2 count on Cesaro after that slingshot DDT. Gargano rolls in with that signature kick he does. They tangle, and Gargano drops Cesaro into the Gargano escape in the middle of the ring. It's broken, and this leads to a double team by the Bar. Gargano still kicks out at 2 as Ciampa comes in out of nowhere to make the save. Sheamus ends up hitting a big Irish Curse backbreaker on Gargano for a 2 count. Sheamus thought that was over, and he can't believe it. Sheamus then grabs Gargano and talks trash to his face. You know, you're Johnny Wrestling, you're Johnny Wrestling. We are the Bar. Gargano responds with a big super kick for a 2 count. Cesaro comes in and charges for a cheap shot to Ciampa, but Gargano rolls him up for a 2 count. There's chaos at the end of this thing, which leads to Ciampa coming in off a blind tag and backsliding Cesaro for the pin after a slingshot on the apron, and DIY beats the Bar on SmackDown Live. Now that spot with Ciampa and Sheamus, it was a sunset flip power bomb, but Sheamus landed bad on Ciampa's knee, and it was clearly botched, and Sheamus's body weight came completely down on Ciampa's reconstructive knee. So I'm hoping that we don't get any bad news. I'm hoping that Ciampa was just selling it because he's great at what he does. But he did look to be okay after the match. I couldn't really tell if there was a slight limp or not. Hopefully, he is okay. So if you guys were in attendance in New Orleans and seen this and seen something off camera that we at home did not see, please leave it down in the comments below. I hope there is no bad news about Tommaso Ciampa leading into WrestleMania season with that NXT championship. I pray to God that there's not. Great match, by the way. Really, really fun stuff. Samoa Joe's backstage getting ready for the main event. Randy Orton appears, and they seem friendly. You know, I threw it out there many, many months ago that Randy Orton and Samoa Joe with Almas would make a very good stable on SmackDown Live. You know, it is fantasy booking, but I could definitely see that. Daniel Bryan appears next to all of them with Rowan, and they all are talking strategy about the 6-man tag later on tonight. There was a video package for Ricochet, and there was a video package for Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa as well, and there was a video package for Aleister Black. Where were these video packages for these guys on Monday Night Raw? Instead of just sending them out there to fend for themselves, SmackDown Live gave us video packages which led into their appearance tonight. So I don't understand. It's like this show is booked by different people, but it's being run by the same fucking senile old fuck in Vince McMahon. I don't get it. I really don't understand it. Asuka comes out. Asuka is alive, folks. Asuka is still employed. She's in the ring. Asuka says she really, really, really feels she's ready for a new challenge. Asuka says she beat both Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair at TLC. She made Becky tap out at the Royal Rumble. She doesn't want to talk about Becky and Charlotte. She just wants to know who is ready for Asuka right now. Out comes Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Sonya Deville was wearing what she wore at the Elimination Chamber. Good. She looks better standing next to Mandy Rose indefinitely. Rose mocks Asuka for no one paying attention to her. Rose tells Asuka to take notes from God's greatest creation. Rose talks herself up and says, if anyone is ready for Asuka, it's me. So we get an impromptu Asuka versus Mandy Rose match here. Mandy Rose wins via a roll-up. I don't think this was really all that good. This was a very sloppy effort here by Mandy Rose and Asuka. And this is not really something that I'm wanting to see heading into WrestleMania. But something happened at the end of this match, which I do think will lead to something at WrestleMania. We had Lacey Evans come out and do her entrance in the middle of this match. This actually distracted Asuka, and I didn't know what the fuck was going on. All I was thinking of was, well, if Lacey Evans is interrupting this Asuka match, I could definitely see WWE building Lacey Evans up to a point where she does eventually challenge Asuka at WrestleMania. I do believe Mandy Rose will eventually be the women's champion, but I do think that Asuka was not on the chamber. They're not going to leave her off of Fastlane. I do think that Mandy Rose, by beating Asuka tonight, is obviously going to get herself a women's championship match at Fastlane. I don't think Mandy Rose is winning the title at Fastlane. I think this is just an inter pay-per-view match, in between pay-per-view match for Asuka, which will eventually lead to Asuka and Lacey Evans at WrestleMania. So Lacey Evans comes out and distracts Asuka. Almost lost the match based off that interference. Rose hits a huge knee on the outside, and that leveled Asuka. Asuka rolls back into the ring. Asuka comes back with a German suplex and a Shining Wizard, but Rose kicks out. Now, after the Shining Wizard, we had Mandy Rose faking an eye injury. Now, the replay clearly showed Asuka hit Mandy Rose's left eye, but she faked an injury with the right eye. And she told the referee to stop the match. She was screaming in pain. I knew this was all playing possum. So Asuka ends up, falling for dumb babyface syndrome. Rose faked the injury and pulled Asuka face first into the ropes. It looked more like chest first or throat first. Asuka didn't really play that off all that well. Takes advantage of this playing possum and rolls Asuka up for the non-title pin. So there you go. Mandy Rose is probably going to get a match at Fastlane for the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. Seems like the SmackDown Live Women's Championship is obviously going to be treated as second rate. Mandy Rose is coming into her own. Lacey Evans, she'll be okay, but they don't resemble what Asuka, Becky, Charlotte, Ronda are, and they're more diva-esque. So I don't know if that bodes well for Asuka or the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. So we get Charlotte backstage. She was watching this match unfold. She asked Sarah Schreiber if she watched what happened. And she then asks Sarah does, about Becky Lynch violating her 60-day suspension by attacking Saturday at WWE's live event. Now, Schreiber asks if Becky will haunt her, and will this be a normal occurrence on the road to WrestleMania? Flair says that Becky doesn't exist right now. She did say that if she violates, just like Triple H said, if she violates suspension again, she will be arrested and she will be prosecuted. So they're really making this a going theme into Ric Flair's birthday party. So I am, no question, expecting Becky Lynch to show up during this birthday bash on Monday Night Raw celebrating Ric Flair. So that's pretty much it. She's in the main event. It's a singles match. Becky Lynch has nothing to do with it. It's Flair versus Ronda Rousey. And Flair says it will main event because she is in it. There you go. The Miz approaches Shane McMahon backstage and thanks him for believing in him again. Miz then says he's got some breaking news that Papa Miz will be there at ringside at the Fastlane pay-per-view for the tag team title match against the Usos. So I'm sure that will have some sort of fuck finish if Papa Miz is going to be sitting or standing at ringside in support of his son. Ricochet versus Eric Young. Yes, Sanity is still employed. I know. I was shocked just as much as you guys were. The one question that I had on my mind was there nobody else better than Eric Young for Ricochet? Like a Shelton Benjamin or a Ty Dillinger or an R-Truth or someone. So a Rey Mysterio. You know, I don't know. Nakamura. Rusev. Somebody. Eric Young. Come on now. If Sanity is not going to amount to anything, then I would rather not see them at all. The fact that they chose Eric Young out of everybody just plays into the fact that they mean nothing and that they're expendable. I'd rather them not be on television and forget about them completely. Because everybody that sees Eric Young or Sanity, for that matter, is going to want to see them more, and then they're going to cry, well, Sanity deserves better. That's why I'd rather not see them at all. Ricochet wins here. Was this ever in doubt? Like, really? I mean, Ricochet did his deal. You know, the gymnast did his deal. The aerial assault of Ricochet, nobody really appreciates on the internet because they think he's nothing but flips and dives, and he needs to tone it down. So Ricochet wins here with the 630 splash. Very, very nicely done. Eric Young seemed to be busted open on the right side of his face. I don't know what happened there, but Eric Young, again, can slip back into catering. There you go. Tom Phillips did actually make mention that they were posting on social media about wanting an opportunity. You know, they're doing that, Mr. Tom, because WWE has not given them an opportunity at all to do much of anything. So they're trying to create a buzz for themselves because you seemingly forgot about them. And by the way, I got to make mention of this here. Having Tom Phillips call matches for Ricochet, DIY, and Aleister Black felt a lot better than Michael Cole. Michael Cole mixing up with these guys, it just sounds very out of place. It does not sound good at all. Tom Phillips sounds a little bit better because he actually used to call NXT, so I can appreciate Tom Phillips a little bit more when it comes to these types of athletes coming up from NXT. Kofi Kingston, AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Daniel Bryan, Samoa Joe, Randy Orton in a 6-man tag. This was really nothing of the sort for a main event. I don't even know why this was made. I just wish they would have announced Kofi and had an interaction with Daniel Bryan. Everybody else was not needed here, to be quite honest with you. Kofi Kingston, AJ Styles, and Jeff Hardy win. Daniel Bryan was pinned by Kofi Kingston. Kofi was tagged in by AJ. Kofi flies, takes Bryan down. Kofi gets dumped on the floor by Bryan, but he takes everyone else down on the outside. Kofi charges, but Kofi catches him in the face with a big forearm. Kofi then flies back with a big dropkick to Bryan. Bryan goes to regroup with Rowan at ringside, but Kofi gets to the top rope and leaps out, taking Bryan and Rowan out with him. Bryan comes back in. Fans are cheering for Kofi. Kofi nails Bryan with Trouble in Paradise once he gets back in the ring, and he pinned the WWE Champion for the win. Shane McMahon comes out. New Day standing in the ring with Kofi Kingston. Shane McMahon took a little bit I would say 10 seconds to look around and hear the crowd's reaction to who they wanted at Fastlane against Daniel Bryan. But it was really no surprise to anybody. He tried to make it climactic, and it did not work, because I guess we all kind of knew it was going to be Kofi Kingston anyway. But he did choose Kofi Kingston against Daniel Bryan for the match at Fastlane for the WWE Championship. Now, I would love to know Mustafa Ali's reaction to this. I would really love to know Mustafa Ali. He's got to be fucking heartbroken. He's got to be heartbroken. This was his spot. Okay? I feel like I need to make mention of this again. And I don't know what it is with everybody. I really don't get you. Everybody that's on this Kofi bandwagon, I don't get you. I have no issue with this. None. I don't want to hear people tell me that I'm racist, that I don't know what I'm talking about, that I'm in the wrong. I'm not in the wrong here. The facts are in the pancake batter. Okay? Kofi Kingston's been a WWE superstar for 11 years. Xavier Woods tonight, in the introduction for Kofi Kingston, they had an interview with Kayla Braxton backstage before New Day made their way out to the ring. Xavier Woods said it best. This didn't happen in 1 week. This happened over the course of 11 years. Everybody is on this Kofi kick, this Kofi bandwagon. They got hashtag Kofi Mania going crazy on social media. I understand you want Kofi Kingston to win the WWE Championship, whether it's at WrestleMania or him winning the title at Fastlane and going to WrestleMania. But I don't want to burst your fucking bubbles. I don't want to burst your air pockets on your fucking pancakes. Kofi Kingston's not winning the WWE Championship. I don't give a fuck what you say to me. I don't give a shit what you tell me to make me believe. I don't give a shit what you do to try and convince me. If it happens, great. Great. But you know what I have a problem with? I have a problem with everybody on this bandwagon about Kofi Kingston. Where the fuck were you for the last 11 years? Oh, that's right. You were in the same fucking bandwagon that I was in. The New Day is stale. The New Day is boring. The New Day needs a gimmick change. The New Day needs to break up. How many times can we see the New Day and the Usos, or the New Day in the bar, or the New Day and the Usos and the bar? The New Day's boring. You were just like me. And now all of a sudden, your tunes have changed. Why? Why all of a sudden have your tunes changed? I understand. You want change. You want fresh. You want new. I get it. I do too. But the thing is, WWE had 11 years to make Kofi Kingston the WWE champion. In 11 years, that's a long fucking tenure with one company. In 11 years, if this man has not become the WWE champion, the WWE is not going to give Kofi Kingston the WWE title after a week of the best run of his career. How many times do I have to tell you? This was never meant for Kofi. If Mustafa Ali was never injured, we would never sit here and mention Kofi Kingston and the WWE title or WrestleMania in the same breath. You do realize that. And for all the naysayers out there, yes, I get it. Kofi is a tenured veteran. Kofi was chosen because he closely resembled what Mustafa Ali was, an underdog. He was an underdog. He was a smaller guy to fit into that role in the gauntlet and then in the chamber. Again, I reiterate, how many of you would be on Mustafa Ali's bandwagon if Mustafa Ali was in this position? How many of you? Or would you give me the excuse, oh, he don't deserve it. Oh, he's never going to get over. Oh, he's nothing but 205 live. Is that what you would have told me? Or would you have been on the Mustafa Ali bandwagon as he went into Fastlane, being the underdog, coming from behind, pinning the WWE champion multiple times? Would you want to see him be the WWE champion? Now, Kofi Kingston at the Elimination Chamber, the WWE had one opportunity to get this right, and they failed. They failed. If Kofi Kingston was to ever become the WWE champion, it should have happened on Sunday night inside the chamber. It didn't. They went with Daniel Bryan because WWE has this thing about them where they don't listen to the fans. They never do. They never will. I don't know who in the back didn't hear everybody cheering for Kofi Kingston. If they wanted shock, if they wanted fresh, if they wanted new, if they wanted change, if they wanted to legitimately live up to everything that Vince McMahon and Triple H stated on Monday Night Raw 2 months ago, saying that we have the fucking power. We have the power? If we had the power, Kofi Kingston would have been the WWE champion at the end of Sunday night. And now here we are. And now all I see on social media and all I see on WWE television is pandering, hoping, wishing, praying, fantasizing for something that will never come. It was to happen on Sunday night. The fact that WWE now is paying attention to all this Kofi Mania bullshit, and the fact that WWE now is paying attention to the reception that Kofi Kingston is getting, it's too little too late. Do you honestly think Kofi Kingston is winning the WWE Championship on a pay-per-view before WrestleMania? Do you honestly think the WWE is not going to have Daniel Bryan go into WrestleMania as their WWE Champion? Do you honestly think the WWE had a new title made for Daniel Bryan only to take it off him and give it to Kofi fucking Kingston? The answer is no. The answer is no. I don't want the WWE Champion to be handed something, or I don't want Kofi Kingston, to be specific, to be handed something because WWE failed to capitalize on a moment that should have been in the record books, in the history books. Yeah, he captivated everybody, but what did he do? He captivated everybody by being a fucking loser. That's exactly what he did. He captivated everybody by being a fucking loser. And now we are to believe that since he's getting another title shot at Fastlane, that all of a sudden he's got a chance to take down Daniel Bryan. Excuse me, I think someone would like to speak with you by the name of Luke Harper. If you don't think Luke Harper is going to show up at Fastlane, you might be thinking somewhere out there far beyond. I thought he was going to show up at the Elimination Chamber. Eric Rowan and Luke Harper, they go like fucking cookies and milk. They've been together for the entirety of their WWE run. If you don't think Luke Harper is going to show up at Fastlane, you got another thing coming. Kofi Kingston has been gyrating and throwing pancakes for the better part of 5 years. I don't want a gyrating, pancake flipping, cut off shirt, belly button exposing, just clown as the WWE Champion. I don't give a shit if it's an underdog story or the grizzled veteran story. I don't care. I do not see Kofi Kingston as the WWE Champion going into WrestleMania. This is Vince McMahon we're talking about. If WWE wanted to capitalize on everything, it would have been done inside the Elimination Chamber with Kofi defending against Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan had all the fucking excuses in the world to use. I was in there against 6 men. I deserve a rematch. Or have him beat a mixture of everybody that you've seen tonight in the 6-man tag in some fatal 4-way or something like that to get another opportunity. Something. And then Daniel Bryan could have won the title back and we could forget about this Kofi Kingston nonsense. But here we are talking about Kofi Kingston, Kofi Mania. You know, I understand you guys want something. But sometimes I got to be the bearer of bad news. Now, if it happens, great. I'm not going to be for it. I'm going to be happy for him. Great. He's a WWE champion after 11 years. But I just don't see WWE giving Kofi Kingston the WWE championship going into WrestleMania. This actually might be better for Mustafa Ali in the end, because if this was truly Mustafa Ali's spot, then his shot at the WWE Championship could have been here and gone, and he would have lost to Daniel Bryan. Now, if I'm Mustafa Ali, yeah, I'm upset for the time being at the situation that's happening right now. But if I'm Mustafa Ali, I'm going to have some sort of positivity in the back of my mind. Kofi's doing this now. I think we're all in agreement that it's very unlikely Kofi Kingston's going to win the WWE Championship. Like my friend Jesse said, Survivor Series, I do believe, or what is it, Money in the Bank? Or one of these pay-per-views. There's a Chicago pay-per-view somewhere on the WWE calendar. I believe it's Survivor Series. If WWE holds off Mustafa Ali and Daniel Bryan is still the WWE Champion, that time will come for Mustafa Ali. Time would have passed, and we can get the underdog story that we got with Kofi Kingston with Mustafa Ali taking down Daniel Bryan in his hometown of Chicago. I think that's a feasible option here. So I don't know what it is with you Kofi Kingston bandwagoners. You got to cut the shit out. Put your dicks away. Stop swinging it around. Kofi for the title. It's time. No, it's not time. It's time to make WrestleMania the best card it could be. The best card featuring Kofi Kingston, or WrestleMania rather, featuring Kofi Kingston as the WWE champion is not the best foot forward for WrestleMania. I don't give a shit how long he's been here. 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. I don't give a shit. It's not happening. Cut the shit out. Kofi Kingston's the number one contender for the WWE title. It's going to be a great match at Fastlane. If it happens, it happens. Great. I just don't see it happening. I'm getting the fuck out of here. I've been here enough and my allergies are fucking killing me. Thank you so much for everything, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that thumbs up. And I will see you all for NXT tomorrow night. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Not Tommaso Ciampa. I got fucking these call-ups in my head. Johnny Gargano and the Velveteen Dream for the North American Championship on NXT tomorrow night. Is Johnny Wrestling going to retain? Or is the Velveteen Dream going to walk out the new North American champion? Get your t-shirts, man. Bonfire.com, link down in the description below at the very top. Let's try and break 150, man. Thank you to everybody that purchased. You guys will be getting shout-outs on Off the Script this weekend. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on that bell for all notifications. Social media is Twitter and Instagram. I'm on there most. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. And if you guys missed anything else on the channel, Resident Evil 2 Part 6, Alligator Boss Fight, Elimination Chamber review live on the channel as well. And Monday Night Raw review live on the channel right now. The eye in the top right corner is where you'll find all of that content, man. Thank you guys so very much. I am getting out of here. And I will see you all for NXT tomorrow night. Until then, hit that thumbs up, and I'll talk to you guys later.